Hi everyone, it's Carol here, and in today's video we're going to talk about the 3 a.m. anxiety cycle. I don't know if you can relate to that. I was actually talking to someone today and she did say to me, I can so relate to that when I was telling her about the title of my video today, because she also often feels that she'll wake up at 3 a.m. and then this anxiety builds up. So I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about why we wake up during the night, why it's normal to wake up through the night, but then what is it that happens that creates the anxiety cycle? And hint, hint, it's rooted in your nervous system. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, I wanted to let you know that I actually have rebranded my website and it's so exciting. So I have decided to move away from the name Sleep Success Academy and move into Carol Richard Coaching. And that is to allow me to actually coach on more than just sleep and then add nervous system healing. Because that's really what I coach, is about nervous system healing that then creates better sleep for ourselves. So go check it out, my new website, carolrichardcoaching.com, and just let me know what you think about it. I'd love to hear your feedback. So, in order for us to understand why we get into the 3 a.m. anxiety spiral, we first have to understand that we actually wake up 5 to 6 times in a night. So, Dr. Jacob Stevenson, I hope I'm remembering his name correctly, in one of the books that I've read, says that it is normal to wake up 5 or 6 times in the night, because every time we switch from one sleep cycle to the next, we have that little 1 second period where we kind of like wake up and then start the next sleep cycle. So a normal sleeper, or someone who doesn't struggle with sleep like we do, or doesn't have a mind full of worry and anxiety like we do, they'll wake up, go right back to sleep. And if you ask them in the morning, so did you wake up last night? They'll be like, no, because they don't even know that they've woken up. We do that as well, but oftentimes we don't notice it. Like we might, like after the first sleep cycle, we might wake up a minute or two, getting right back to sleep. And then so if that's an hour and a half, so after like 3 hours, we're in our second sleep cycle, we might also just barely wake up. And then the next one, we're looking at 4.5 hours. So if you went to bed around, let's say 10 o'clock, so then you're looking at like 2:30 in the morning. And so also what happens in the later cycles, we have more REM sleep. So meaning that we have more dreams, our brain is more active, and it is easier to wake up later in the night than at the beginning. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. It's normal to wake up 5 to 6 times a night. And sometimes when we wake up, we don't even notice. And we do this every time we change sleep cycles. So I have some notes here that I'm going to make sure I follow. So here's what happens, is what I said in my notes. So we wake up naturally. That's why I wanted to explain that, right? So it is normal for us to wake up. Then the second thing that happens is our mind kicks in with worries or thoughts. Or even, I was kind of following another sleep doctor. I can't remember, why can I not remember names today? Not Matthew Walker, the other one. Anyway, whatever his name is. And he was saying that they're learning, the more that they're studying sleep, that also when we're sleeping, we're processing emotions. And so it makes sense then, if this is like the new research that's out there, that if I do wake up and I'm processing a dream that has maybe a lot of emotions attached to it, that I'm going to wake up and my mind's going to kick in and is going to like have anxiety, worries, or maybe I'm thinking about the next day, or maybe I'm thinking about the fight that I had in fifth grade with whoever that I haven't talked to in 20 years. It could be anything. But as soon as there's anxiety, worry, or anything like that, our nervous system then kicks in. It activates in the sympathetic energy. So I'm just going to go quickly. We have our ventral energy. That's that very good energy. So I like to ventral, very good. And then we have our sympathetic, which is our fight flight, but I like to say our stress phase or stormy seas. I like to name it differently. And then our dorsal, which is our shutdown, which is more of dissociation, depression kind of feeling, or just like, I'm shut down, I'm not going to feel anything. But when my mind kicks in with anxiety and worries, then that is sympathetic. So it's activating my nervous system. Sympathetic energy is mobilization. So it means more energy in the system. Therefore, now I am point number 4 I'm saying here, now you're truly awake and alert, right? So, and then what happens when we're truly awake and alert, because our mind kicked in, then we get frustrated even more, then we start judging ourselves or being hard on ourselves, and or maybe we're hard on our partners because they're snoring, or there's just more anxiety, more built up of this fight flight energy in our system, which gives more activation, which equals to less sleep. So that is the anxiety cycle. So I'm going to put it here on the screen for you to be able to read it, right? So what's happening? We wake up normally, then our mind kicks in with worries and thoughts. Then our nervous system activates in sympathetic. Now you're truly awake and alert. Then you get frustrated about being awake, and then more activation, less likely to sleep. So now that we understand this, you might ask, well, then Carol, what am I going to do about this? Well, the thing is, you have to start building resiliency in your nervous system. You have to start understanding that it's normal for this to happen. And then you're going to start giving yourself some compassion. So, as great as it is to say, well, just don't get frustrated, I know that that's not that simple. So I'm going to invite you to this four calls that I'm doing. It's a free series. We've already had call number 1 done, where we talked about just like understanding our sleep struggles. So we really go through fight, flight, freeze, what they are, and understanding that the root cause of our sleep issue is really about our nervous system dysregulation. So we're going to learn that. That's what we learned in the first call. Then the second call, and I got the titles here, so we're going to break free from overwhelm, because we want to really understand emotions and frustrations and overwhelm. And overwhelm is a glob of emotion that we don't really understand. So a lot of times when you're waking up, you might just feel overwhelmed without understanding that underneath there's anxiety or frustration. And then after that, so that's the second call. And then on the third call, that will be like next Thursday, it will be the 3 a.m. wake up call, where we're going to really dive deep into this. Because once we understand our nervous system, so even though you've missed the first call, when you sign up, you will get access to the recording page that will actually, you'll be able to watch the first call because they're all free. But you do have to sign up to get access to it. And then you'll understand that, okay, this is what my nervous system is doing. And I'm giving you tools in every class that we're doing to be able to start orienting and practicing and differentiating our emotions. So when we get to this 3 a.m. class, we're going to talk about how can I then bring my nervous system back to a place of peace and calm so that I can go to sleep. And there's different tools for that that we'll learn in the call. One of my favorite ways, though, and I'll give it to you here, is that I love to orient and get back in connection with my body and just letting my mind know, like, okay, so right now I'm activated, but it's not truly happening in this moment. Instead, in this present moment, I'm laying in my bed. I can feel the sheets. I can really notice my breath going up and down. And if we're truly activated, then we might want to get out of bed and do some tapping, which is something else that you can learn either through me or through other people, and use some tapping, some really good EFT there to allow this energy to process so we can get back to sleep. And then on Tuesday, September 2nd, will be the last call in this series, which will be beyond quick fixes. Because even though we understand that waking up at 3 a.m. might be something that happens automatically, it's normal, is that it's our brain that's kicking in, that's keeping us awake. How do I then go beyond having to deal with it every night and do the work during the day, like processing my emotions, building resiliency in my nervous system? What does that look like in order for this not to happen anymore? I used to be someone who fell asleep, slept maybe one sleep cycle, an hour and a half. If I slept 2, I was lucky. And then I was awake again. My mind would race. I would think about everything. I actually had this belief that I had no off switch for my brain, therefore I couldn't sleep. But now that I have built resiliency in my nervous system, I understand how it works. I rarely have nights where I'm awake. And when I do, I can understand that it's because my nervous system is activated. And then I have the tools to help me fall asleep again. And I don't get frustrated. I have lots of compassion for what I'm experiencing in the moment that allows me to go back to sleep quicker. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm very excited about these calls because they truly show you a different way to build lasting, natural sleep. I hope you'll join me, and if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to email me at carol@carolrichardcoaching.com. Thanks.